So nice to have you. Where are you now?
Thank you very much. It's nice
It,
to be
it's
here.
it's so blurry in the background. We cannot tell.
Yeah, actually, I'm in Norway and I'm leaving in 1 week, so I'm enjoying the last moments. And this is our cabin where we live with my boyfriend for now. And yeah, that's it.
That's cool. And is it winter already there? How is the October? Now we're in the beginning of October. How does the weather feel like there?
Now it's raining really heavily, but past couple of days have been really nice and it's been kind of sunny. But it's not very cold here. It's like in the autumn or spring, even though that many people think that Norway is very cold. So far, it's really pleasant.
Yeah, I can see that you're fine, even because at home, even in Portugal, we are cold here. Like we we can wear long sleeves and hoodies, but you seem to be doing fine. Excellent. So, so excited to talk to you about. I'm looking at everywhere, looking. I have to focus on here. I'm so excited to talk to you about modeling and our experiences, your experiences. I want to hear. Would you like to, because just to be respectful, would you like to introduce yourself? I know this is a very yucky thing sometimes to do, but you're a professional. Maybe you would like to tell people who you are and what you do. Your way. It's just a free talk. This is not an interview. This is just a friendly talk.
Yeah, sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Victoria and I come from Slovakia. As I said, I'm currently in Norway. I'm here for the season work. I wanted to travel a bit since this is my gap year after my secondary school, and I wanted to know more of the world and also to get some more work experience. And I wouldn't really say I'm a professional model because it's more of a freelancing thing. And at first it was just my hobby, and then it started to be more regular. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. But now I kind of like have a short pause, and I would like to get back to it when I'm back in Slovakia, but I'll be leaving then. And so I hope to manage to get some shootings in the meantime.
Yeah. So how does it? You said it started with hobby. How does that hobby start with the form?
Well, it was really random because it was during one summer, 2 years ago, I would say. Well, I was looking for some new job. Yeah, it's okay. And so I was looking for some job and I was looking at the offers. And then I noticed one offer, and it was like to be a model for this sculpture. And I said like, why not? I would like to try that. And I was sculpture, yeah, something like that. One photographer or artist, he wanted to do a sculpture, but he needed like this model first to shoot something and then to be able to model the mold. And so I said, why not? I might try it. And at first I was a little bit hesitant, but since the communication was very smooth and the photographer seemed to be very serious and trustworthy, I decided that I will meet with him. And so plans started very nice. It was okay. We communicated about the date, but then it changed a bit since he wanted to do another project first. And so that was my very first shooting, and it was just in nature, in water, and it was very enjoyable for me. I was really surprised how comfortable I felt with him, and both naked, since it was nude art. And it's actually encouraged me to try some other shootings. And yeah, it was a very pleasant experience.
Okay, I'll start. I heard that that's much harder to do.
Yeah, I can kind of imagine how hard it must be, because one time I was a model for this drawing. It was just drawing for 2 or 3 hours, and I was basically sitting, and from like judging by the looks, you would say, oh, but you were just sitting, but I was leaning on my hand, and after half an hour I just couldn't feel my hand, and it must be really, really hard to stand in one position for a couple of hours, even though you have some breaks. You would say, oh, but you were just sitting, but I was leaning on my hand, and after half an hour I just couldn't feel my hand. And it must be really, really hard to stand in one position for a couple of hours, even though you have some breaks, but still, it's very respectable.
I never modeled, so, but I worked with modeling. I know how hard it is. So for the sculpture photo shoots, were you standing in the same position for too long time?
Well, not since it was a different project, and he kind of like let it go, the sculpture project. We didn't do it, and it was just like normal shooting, so it was okay.
Was that your first experience? Well, first experience sculpture, posing for a sculpture?
For the well, it wasn't for the. I'm not sure we're on the same page now because with the first shooting, it was supposed to be for the sculpture, but we decided to do another project, and then he let go the first project with the sculpture. But I did a modeling for the drawing, and there was a.
How long does it take for drawing, and how would you compare it to photo modeling? Let's say modeling for a photo.
Well, for us, it took 2 or 3 hours, but it wasn't really that much details. So I can imagine that for a different artist, it might take even longer. And the biggest difference is probably that you just pose in one pose, and so you don't move a lot. And I would say it's more all static, but not only static in like the physiological terms, but also in the nature of the shooting. Because when you're doing a regular shooting, you're trying out new things, and maybe you even come up with new ideas during it. But when you come to do a model for drawing, the artist probably knows what he wants to do, and so you just do the pose, and you can talk, but
Do you have to know to the pose, or they just give you a sample, you do it, or because it's important, no, to keep it in sync?
I can't really speak that much about it because, as I said, I only had one experience, and it was just sitting pose. But he told me what he wanted to do. But I would say that you have to feel comfortable with that pose. If it were something more explicit and the model would not feel okay with that, and the artist would really like to do it, it might just not be ideal.
Have you also been modeling like non-nude with just dresses and or costumes or anything non-nude? Have you had experience with that?
Yeah, before the nude shooting, the very first I talked about, I had maybe 2 or 3 shootings, and it was always in the form of TFP. So no reward, it was just pictures for me, and the photographer could try something new, and he had also some new pictures for his portfolio. And um, but they were really kind of like normal shootings. It wasn't something really specific, and so there weren't any costumes or something like that.
How would you compare modeling non-nude and to nude modeling?
Mm-hmm. Hmm. Mm. Well, I would say that
Because for one talent, because I worked with you, I know your talent. It's very rare that you find people can do both greatly. If you have a talent to pose with the dress, or if you know how to carry a dress, that's a talent. But also on the other hand, being nude is a totally different talent that you have to feel comfortable with. So I have never seen you with a dress in the studio. So that's why I want to ask, how is it different? Which one you prefer more?
hmm, um, the main difference is, from my point of view, that you have to be really comfortable in your body when doing nude photography. because clothes can hide a lot of things, and you can work a lot with them. I mean, you can also do this with naked body. You can pose differently, use different lighting. You all know that. But you still uncover yourself, and oftentimes it's not only about your body but also about your insecurities, almost every single part of your body, and being able to say no when you feel uncomfortable and when there is some boundary that you do not want to cross. And so I would say you have to feel really good in your body, and you have to be willing to communicate a lot.
Both sides, communication. Yeah, the silence is very awkward. I heard and I feel the feedback. I never, I talk too much sometimes, but models don't want to stay, whether if it's female or male model, they cannot stay in the absence, like silence, and in the dark it gets too weird when that happens.
And considering the second question, which one I prefer, mm, I wouldn't really say I strongly prefer one of them. It depends on the project and the idea I want to convey, and sometimes one of them can be more suitable. But from my experience, nude photography was much more fun because of the people I got to meet. I was very lucky to have only positive experience, and it was always very interesting people, including you. I really enjoyed the time, and it's not just like, oh, I'm going to go for shooting and yeah, I'm gonna pose, I'm gonna say a couple of words, but it's about sharing your experience, about finding the common ground, and besides that, making something incredible.
Yeah, I'm happy you said that because it's kind of an important and touchy subject. It's very important. It's not as cliche as like what you do, enjoy what you do, but specifically for this kind of jobs, I'm sure there are similar things. But because you said that it's about liking what you do and the results and looking forward to it versus just doing it for the money. And doing it for the money is understandable, but not only you don't give the same energy to the photographer, and that energy cannot be seen on the photos when you look at them. I personally had problems with that. Models like you who are into it, who see also nudity very differently, because I'm going to come to the topic of OnlyFans and erotic models who have nothing, no hide, like no fear of being naked, but that's a totally different experience to work with them. Also, there are models who do it just for the money. That that's a big attitude difference because I had few experiences. Now I can understand few bad experiences. Now I can actually understand if a model is into it, if a model enjoys what she does or what he does or not. Because when they do it for the money, they don't care about what you shoot. It's just about, oh yeah, let's get it done. I don't care if it's a good photo or bad photo. That's a totally different experience, and I don't think they would enjoy it, and they would say the nice things that you say about modeling or being nude or photos. That's what I really appreciate about you. Also, one of your the biggest assets or biggest values or qualities for me is that you don't make it feel or seem like it's a nude shot. It's a I think we have that energy as well. We were working with Patty, our makeup artist. You are not naked. We cannot think about it. You cannot also think about that you're naked all the time when you're doing work and you're trying to create something nice. That's why I would always prefer and wish that all models were like you. Like their body was okay, like nudity was okay with them, but yeah, on the other side of that spectrum. There's this erotic models, there's this nude models, OnlyFans style. They also don't have any problem with nudity, but they're too extreme, and they nudity is not the same thing as it is to you.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I don't have anything against people who prefer to use OnlyFans as their platform, or if they
Of
want to
course, of
do
course.
porn or anything.
Of course,
But
exactly.
it's a different style, and if you want to really do something artistic and something really, really new, I would say there has to be a different approach.
Yeah, what do you mean by new?
Well, from my experience, most of the accounts on OnlyFans or the Instagram
Oh yeah, oh.
influencers, they all look the same,
Yeah,
and if it's
and
nothing
they're
new, it gets
doing
boring.
they're doing the same thing, and especially if it's on the like this OnlyFans, a little bit pornographic and erotic spectrum. There is not much we can do except the
Yeah.
things that we know, like, and it gets very boring and not creative. Zero creativity needed for those things. Yeah, it's very odd. And you said that you're okay with OnlyFans, and of course I'm okay with that too. And some people do greatly, and will make more money than we ever make in our lifetime. That's for sure. Do you know anyone? Like, do you have models friends, model network?
Um, if I do know anyone who has OnlyFans or something.
OnlyFans, yeah, yeah, or really in touch, like not like it's not like supporting, but while you're doing modeling, because yeah, let's talk about that too. When you are finding photographers, or for me to find models, I always go to their social media and I speak to the photographers, and I ask, like, one artist to another artist, can I trust this person? How was your experience? I'm sure you should be doing the same thing as well. Like, go and see photographers, who else did they work with, and just ask them questions. I was thinking maybe while you do that, you just came across these OnlyFans, and you just ask and then just learn what they were doing. That's what I want to.
Not really, since I wasn't very active in finding photographers. Rather, they reached out to me, and I didn't really want to do it as full-time thing. I've never done it, but I stumbled upon some OnlyFans accounts, but not really. I haven't paid that much attention to it. But some photographers mentioned to me their experience with such models.
Yeah, and when you think about today's, besides OnlyFans, besides erotic, when you see the new wave of being more open, I'm older than you, but you are not also the youngest. You are not this, whatever, the today's generation, the 15, 16 years old, I don't know what they're called, their generation. And when you see all the Instagram, I think on Instagram they call it reels, and then TikTok and stuff, all these twerking, explicit poses, explicit butt selfies. It's like things become normal. It was very abnormal when I was young, and when I even compare the porn artist Twitter's, porn artist Instagram accounts to a regular person, porn artists look more normal in their photos than a whatever 17 years old girl doing TikTok dances. You know what I mean? What do you think about where does this go? Do you think it's okay? Like, people should do whatever they want to do. Of course, we're progressive, but do you think it's good in terms of aesthetic, in terms of quality of their work, what they do, what you see, the beauty, the bikinis, the thongs?
Yeah, I see. Well, that's a really difficult question.
Just
Even
as a girl, as a female, you
yeah, yeah,
can tell better.
yeah, of course. But I was pondering that question for a long time since I consider myself to be a feminist, and at one end of the spectrum is that like that approach, like embrace your body, sexual liberation and everything. And on the other end is like not selling yourself or not fitting into that patriarchy system or whatever. And I would say it's all about the intention with which you are doing it and about the feelings you convey. Because you can look at one picture, for example, of some artistic nude photography, and it can provoke many feelings in you. It can be even very explicit picture with a really rude pose. But for example, if it conveys some strong message, it will feel very different from some young girl just twerking to some popular song. And I would say the biggest problem is the fact that the majority of users of TikTok, they are very young, and I mean, even young people can be very wise, but still you cannot see all the consequences that your actions will bear in the future. And they might regret it, I would say. I mean, I can regret my decisions in the future as well, but I always choose what I want to do. And yeah, it's all about the intention you do it with. If you just want attention on the internet, I don't know if it's really worth it.
I agree. We all do mistakes. We have done stupid things in our time when we were at their age. And on the other hand, if I was in their age now, if this is the only thing I have, I would probably do similar stupid things too. But for me as an artist, I have realized that the definition of aesthetics have changed. Because, for example, I look at those most of the dances and I say, this is stupid. This looks stupid. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look nice. It's stupid. And they might say, you're just an old guy or just not from this age anymore, just judging. Then I want to ask them, if this is not stupid, show me something stupid. What is stupid for you? Or what is ugly for you? When you come to that, when you ask them such questions, not as directly as this, they say, they go to the circle of anything is possible in this world. Anything is beautiful. Because you want it, you do it, it's beautiful. That's a horrible advice. That life doesn't work like that. Like create art doesn't work like that. Just because of you do it, just because of you want to do it, doesn't mean that it will work. And we grew up like before our times, our grandparents' time. There used to be oh my god, I'm having Alzheimer's. Elvis Presley, how he danced, how he was on stage. Today, when you watch him, it is beautiful. Everything is beautiful about him. When you watch Michael Jackson dance, it is beautiful. There was aesthetic to it. Michael Jackson wasn't Michael Jackson just because he was popular, just because of that time. Even today's dancers from dance schools, they still dance with Michael Jackson's music because it was amazing. It was just beautiful. It was not stupid. There were stupid dances, like all these can't touch this and stuff like I remember in music videos. But today it looks like there's only stupid moves and there is no limit to it. And people have lost what was nice, what was good looking. And there is no more stupid. Anything you do is okay. Anything you do is art. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, for me, art is mainly about provoking feelings and being food for thought. And as I said, creating something new. But if you look at such videos, as you described, you just feel almost nothing.
Exactly. Also, it just, 10 seconds, 5 seconds. So what can you feel in 5 seconds? And what kind of, you know what they say, soul, music, art feeds your soul. So when I see a 15 years old, I cannot even tell their age anymore. For me, I thought when I was 14, 15, I was just playing with my friends, I don't know, toys. So today, 12, 13, it's so scary to see. I don't know, I'm very progressive, but just, I don't know. When I see a girl twerking, whatever their age is, definitely under 18, what kind of feelings should I get? What's the art there for 30 seconds? Not less than 30 seconds. TikToks are 10 seconds. So what did I see? What did I watch? And how can it benefit me to become a better artist as a dancer? Young girls watching other young girls. So how can you build on that? Like it looks like there's a decrease there. It just instead of devolving, things devolve. Instead of getting better and progressive and looking nicer, it goes worse. Like it just less aesthetic, more ugliness. That is very scary. Talking about, yeah, please carry on.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that since it's becoming so normal and widespread, young people, since they are very impressionable, they might even get the feeling that they have to do it in order to fit in. I mean, I remember myself when I was 13 or 14. Yeah, I saw some other people that had popularity or success, and I wanted to do things like that, them. And it's just scary to think that young people, especially women, should feel the pressure to, for example, put less clothes on and basically to go against themselves and do things there.
I also see that's why I do what I do. That's why we talk. I find girls with bikinis on Instagram with the little sexy bikini, but the sexy is not like there's two sexy. I think there's one sexy which is aesthetic, like what we do with you. I think you are sexy, but there's other sexy which only brings up sexual ideas to pornography. So I see girls with the dress, even the tight dress or the cleavage and all the makeup and most of the photos by the poolside with their little bikinis, they look more offensive and more sexual than you being naked. Like just because, and they would say that I would never do nude. Yeah, good luck with that. But you, without being nude, you are please don't be nude because I cannot even imagine you being nude. If you are this sexual and tacky, cheap with having a dress on, God knows how would they pose. I think those are the ones who go 100% OnlyFans and this erotic style that we talk. Because for them, there is no the line between no matter what they have, they look sexual. So of course, they're not going to look artistic or look for pale and softness in the beauty of nude art. I wanted to ask you the same thing. What makes you like nude art? What makes you excited about it? What kind of things that you like, and what kind of things you don't like when you see nude art?
hmm I personally love nude photography because I feel very good in my own body and I feel very comfortable naked. I think it's very natural and we should embrace it more. I don't think we should be that afraid. I hope to contribute to the taboo wise to make it less taboo. Because I mean, sexuality, nudity can be very sexual, but it doesn't have to be. You and I both know that even though you have a completely naked person in front of yourself, at times you're trying to hide some things. You're trying not to make it look cheap. You change the lighting, you change the pose, you cover something a bit, and it desexualizes it. It makes it something totally different. And yeah, I love what we can do with our own bodies without using some, I don't know, special costumes, as you asked, or some different stuff, just with your own body, light, and I don't know, colors, whatever. Uh, hmm. I don't really know what I don't like about it. It would be probably people who are not really artists, they are dishonest, and then it leads to models having bad experience. And so I would say like fake artist and crossing boundaries. But as I said, I was very lucky to only have positive experience. So it's just I'm just judging by what I hear and what I read.
Okay. And how does it affect what you do when you do modeling? How does it affect your relationship with your partner?
Mhm. Um, I actually thought you would ask this question, and so I asked my boyfriend again. But I asked him at the very beginning of our relationship. I actually told him maybe 1 or 2 months into our dating, and he was pretty okay with it. I'm lucky to have an amazing man by my side, not really now,
I agree.
but he's very open-minded and progressive, as you said. And I would say a big part of our relationship is trust. I think he knows that he can trust me, um, and that's why he doesn't have a problem with that. I also choose my shootings and people I work with, and I always, for example, show him the pictures, and I also tell him when I'm about to do some project and when I'm not sure what he would think about it or how it would affect our relationship, since it's a big priority in my life, and I would rather not do some shooting, which could be very great if it were to affect our relationship in a bad way. So if I'm doubtful, I ask him and we talk about it, but it's um, hasn't really happened that he would say, "Oh no, don't do this, don't do that." Yeah, I would say the key component is trust, and I don't do things such as porn or anything like that. So
I think what you do, yeah, kudos to your boyfriend. I wish all men were like that. And because I know that the girls mostly they would do more, but my boyfriend wouldn't love it. But they do TikTok dances. I think that's more troublesome than to do what you do. I would be worried if my wife was doing sexy TikTok dances than actually posing nude. Nuding pose is also a nice word that I will use from now on. Um, yeah, it's that's very different. Yeah, good to know. Good to know. I just wanted to know because they asked me as well, like as a married man, how does your wife let you do nudes and stuff? With the girls, I like it. When they ask, how does your wife let you do nudes with the girls? And I say I do nudes with the guys as well. So guys are okay for me, for you, for your logic. So I can do anything, whatever you think with the guys, and the girls are the problem. It just doesn't make sense when they say things like that. I have another question. When do you feel comfortable and uncomfortable during photo shoots? What makes you feel comfortable and uncomfortable?
well, I'm gonna repeat myself here. I feel great when communication is great. There has to be trust established, and you don't even have to know the person for ages. It just maybe takes half an hour, a coffee, or anything. But yeah, you have to trust each other. There has to be respect. Then I feel really okay. So if
Sorry to interject. When you feel the trust, when you don't feel anything awkward, you are naturally more open. I always say that in my videos. Yeah, you are more comfortable with posing and with the energy that you're giving. It's correct. Yes, it's the nature of all women, I think, because female um, models are more fragile than men, and when you feel comfortable and safe, you are more open. Even the way you sit and the way you stand changes. That's why I think that's what you mean. Trust and then the communication. So,
yeah, definitely. Even if you had some super professional model or photographer, I mean, we are all still humans and we have feelings. And as you said, women are more fragile, or I would say sensitive, or more in touch with their feelings often because of society and of our nature of the feminine and masculine. And so it can really affect the shooting and the feelings, and it might even prevent another like cooperation in the future. And yeah, and as I was saying, boundaries have to be respected always. If someone were to try to convince me to do something, even though I said no, there will be a real red flag for me. Yeah. And also, what makes me feel really great is when I see that the photographer knows what he's doing. If I see someone taking 50 photographs of me in one pose from weird angles and doesn't really want to make one or two pictures really perfect, it's strange to me, and I feel like he just wants to see me naked, if that makes sense.
It's interesting that you say. Often I always share that in my videos to people as well. Don't be that photographer. It is very important. There is no like good photographer when photographers think that maybe model would not like to work with me because I don't take good photos. The good photo is a very weird thing. Just you never know. Like it's just very subjective. Any photo that you take could be good as long as you care about it. You care about the person and the communication. Something will show up nice. But when they're just without any plan, without any theme, without any idea, okay, naked, just get naked, I'll do my thing here. They're entertaining themselves, and it's a bad cycle because it affects us photographers as well. It affects models as well. Models hate doing the job. They say men are disgusting business. And for us photographers, next time we talk to that model, she is very distant, and I also understand that because I had a horrible experience with that.
As you said, the plan is very important, or at least the topic or the idea, because when it's lacking, I'm very confused. Because I mean, I don't have problem with experimenting or making that perfect photo, but we have to have intention. And if I don't know what I'm actually doing here, what we want to create together, nothing good can come out of it.
Yeah, well, one of the problems that I have with the models, and I didn't have with you as well, it's related to the previous thing that we talked, but I want to mention it's very important that to feel comfortable for photographer too. When you are not protective. Two things that I don't like with the models, that's why I like talking up front to make sure. I also don't want to hear any sexual things or other creepy things happening from the girl side. If she's too explicit, I don't feel comfortable. And if she's too protective, also I don't feel comfortable. Like, what do you think is happening? Like, what is that? Like, how can someone feel? If of course, never male and female is never the same. But imagine you are doing your work and photographer is being just very protective, extremely protective, like so offended as if you want to sleep with him. It would not make the same effect to you, but I also don't want to feel that, and you know me, but that's also a very important thing. The bad attitude, bad energy, and the intention towards each other can ruin the photo shoot, just like that. I'm asking the questions all the time. Do you have anything to ask me? I just don't want to be this in like an interview. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Yeah. How are you, Alt?
Yeah.
No. I would like to hear about. What I'd like to hear about. How you actually started? What was your first shooting like?
Nude or overall nude? Whew. I grew up with 80s beauties, the magazines, Playboy magazines. Penthouse magazines. Was it Penthouse? It was Penthouse, I think. And Penthouse was always on the erotic side of the spectrum. Playboy was always cool. Doesn't show, Playboy wouldn't show so much of genitalia, but the models were classy. And I always felt I like human body, whether it's male or female or transsexual. Then I found out I like porn as much as the next person, but not as much. I've noticed that I enjoy beauty of nude body, even sculptures or painting. This doesn't have to be a photo. More than porn, I find myself just browsing when I do this history of art. Finally, in the video, I'm just collecting lots of photos. You see there all the paintings. I find beauty and joy in those. Then that's what I wanted to do myself. When I was doing with my partners, people liked those photos when I showed them. It was not like, here we are having sex, or here she's extremely erotic. No, it was all the beautiful side of it, when she's resting, when in a beautiful way, like the photos that I take with you. People liked it, and I started to say, it didn't work for me to say, I trust myself, I must be doing great photos. People told me that I do good photos, and I said, okay, if everyone says that. First, in the beginning, I thought, okay, they're just being my close friends and they're just saying nice things to me. Then random people told me that photos were good, and I said, okay, maybe there's truth in it, you know, maybe what I do is kind of good. That's how I started shooting. And when I was shooting, the last kind of clue that I had professionally was in Istanbul. I was shooting for, shout out to Gamze Alpar, which was the manager of the editor of the magazine. And we were working with her, and we were shooting models, topless, nude, this and that. They were all kind of famous models. They all told her actually, that they feel very comfortable with me, and that never happened to them. That was one of the keys. I said, wait a second, did they really say that? That's very interesting, because when I'm doing nude shots, I'm just not thinking about anything else. Apparently, other people were not like that. That's why when I heard over again and again that models feel very comfortable with me, that was the moment I wanted to take advantage of it. I said, maybe I should do this, because, and you say also that you feel comfortable with me. That's, for me, before photos, that's the best thing you can ever tell to a photographer, I think, for me. That's the best compliment, that you feel very comfortable with me. Because I support this. If I had a daughter, my wife, everything, I support this, I respect this business. And when you say that, that means a lot to me, that you feel comfortable with a photographer. More or less, that's how I started shooting.
Yeah, and it's very true. I actually told you already, but during our last photo shoot, I really realized, it dawned on me how great I feel with you, because the shooting I had before couple of days before, it was very strange. Even though the photographer was okay and the shooting was also good, and even the result pictures were great, there was something missing in all of that, and the communication was strange. As I said, there was a lack of intention, and also the talking was kind of shallow. And then I came to your studio, and I just felt so relieved, and it was just great.
You're so comfortable, and it makes me do more different things, gives me ideas, and and then we look at the photos. Oh, there you are, you're naked, but I really enjoy it. It's just such a pleasure. In other videos, I mentioned you many times, so I'm sure you're gonna get lots of DMs. Creepy ones as well. And watch out, Turkish people. If they find you, they're gonna send all the messages. Okay, I have another question. When you agree on a photo shoot, is there anything that you do, like crossing your fingers? How do you prepare for the photo shoot? This is for more like for the other models. out there like you who would like to do nude modeling, it might be also okay, just show up naked, that's it, that's so easy. But is there anything that you personally prepare, or as a mindset, or physically or mentally, before a photo shoot?
Yeah, I would really start with even before agreeing, since it's very important to check the person and to really think about whether you want to work with them or not. And I know my mom would definitely say, "Oh, but they can lie on the internet. You never know who's at the other end."
Yeah, a
And
fat
that's
truck
true.
driver looking
Yeah.
man like this, you always imagine.
Yeah, that is risky. I mean, I know that what I do sometimes it can be very dangerous, but you have photographers who have sites, who have portfolios, who you know that they worked with some models. You can check them,
That's very
and
important.
yeah, and so I would say that if your intuition even just is whispering something like this is not completely okay, listen to it or maybe analyze your feelings. And if everything seems to be okay, and of course communication is in check, then you can start preparing for the shooting. Yeah, well, I know that I have to come to the shooting with a good mood or being in a good mood. And we know that life is unpredictable and sometimes unexpected things can arise. And so it's not always possible to come up all sunny, but I still try to focus on the shooting, the upcoming shooting, even if I'm not in the greatest mood. So I would say that's important. Um, it's also essential to come up being prepared to communicate and talk, so not to feel closed really or protective. I also, if the photographer wants it, I shave, or if we agree on it. If not,
That's very important. That's a very good thing if models watch this video. The communication again is the biggest thing. Before, after, all the time throughout the photo shoot, but also before. I'm gonna tell you the experience that I had with models, because also my next question would be how do you find photographers, and I'm gonna explain how do I find models. But this communication, you as a model, if she asked me how should I come, that would be like, oh my god, this deserves professional attention. Also, whatever you name your price, I'll accept. Just by this, just by asking, because it means that she has had experience. No one says I don't have experience for a reason. Um, but asking that, because today, if you don't ask, if a photographer is not asking you to send, for example, to see your news, or asking you like, for example, what I ask with you every time, is same thing for my wife or anybody that I shot. For female models, two most important, number one thing is just you have to ask the private days of the month, if just corresponds to the day that you're shooting, because no one wants to, it's not a great day to be. No woman on earth is looking for that day specifically to come. That's why, especially for nude shots, that's not the best day to shoot. Sometimes you have to shoot, sometimes it happens, but that's one thing I ask kindly, not in a creepy way. Second thing is, because of the concept, you should ask, so can I first see the recent photo of your body? And second thing, shaved, not shaved, it could be armpit as well, also anything. I work with models with mustache, but you just have to know. When you ask, it means that how much you care. Also, if a photographer asks, it means that he's not being creepy, he's asking. Also, you have to ask respectfully. But if a photographer doesn't ask that, it means that they just want to see a naked body. Yeah, come. Doesn't matter. Like, just show up. Just I need somebody who can stay naked. That for me is rude. Not when you ask that. But also, it's my job to explain models that this is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
That it should work. Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but yeah, what you said is very okay. To ask, to prepare, shave or not shave. You cannot just randomly do it by yourself. If you're not shaved, you cannot just shave and show up. It's better to ask people, and photographer, what's the concept? What are we talking about? And that brings us to the next question. How do you find photographers?
Uh, well, because I didn't really want to so far make it a full-time thing, I wasn't really looking for photographers. They always reached out to me, and a lot of my shootings were with the same photographers, meaning that I had some first shooting with them after they reached out to me, and then they called me again, which really surprised me because at the beginning I thought that all photographers want to have a nice portfolio full of different people and variety, and it really surprised me when I had second or third shooting with someone, and it was really nice. So I'm not looking for photographers. They usually reach out to me either through finding me on my social media or maybe through their friends who also shoot, and they mention them to me. So yeah.
Yeah. What would you recommend to models or nude models that watch this and want to do modeling? What should they pay? You kind of touched to these topics before, but what should they do? What should they consider finding, contacting? They cannot all just wait for photographers to contact them because they have to have a portfolio for a photographer to see and contact. Um, how can they make a difference between, not between, how can they make difference by being a good nude model? What would you say to them? If you had a daughter, if you had a sister, if somebody came to you, I want to also do nude modeling, how can I do? What's the best way of doing it? Can you just spit your feelings? Can you explain?
Did I say? I would say that, yeah, sure, go ahead, do it. Try it. I would say at first, for example, do not agree on 10 shootings, but first, of course, start with one, see how you feel, really check in with yourself if that's okay for you, or if you're hesitant, maybe it might not be ideal for you in the current situation you're in, but it might be okay for you 2 or 3 years later. But I would say
That's a
I would
good
encourage
point.
them to. I'm sorry?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would encourage them to try it and to see for themselves. And yeah, then they can start working on their portfolio, collecting more pictures, and then they might try different groups where photographers and models meet. And then you also mentioned one site to me, Model Mayhem. So that
Yeah.
might be also ideal.
Exactly. And what would you do if a photo? Isn't it normal for nude models to have a nude portfolio, obviously? And would you feel offended if a photographer asks you for if you don't have a if you have a nude if you are doing nude modeling, if you say nude modeling, you must have nude photos. Without asking this directly, I'll explain one experience that I had recently. So I reached out to this model. For me, photographers have no problem reaching out, finding models. Now we have Instagram, Model Mayhem, all those kind of websites. If a model is a nude model, they say they're a nude model and they have nude photos, obviously. What I ask is which photo is the latest, so I can have an idea, because I just don't want people to show up with just without knowing, because people change, and also photographers can make you look different in photos. And if they don't have and okay, in this case, the model was saying nude model, and I contacted her because she didn't have any nude photos. So I said, can I see any of your work? Because you don't have any reference. okay, maybe you just new. Can I see a nude photo? And she says, no, but in a very bad attitude. Like, no, I'm not sending you a nude photo. So, like, I want to say something. Once I said to one, and she blocked me because they're ready to fight. Because I just want to know, like, if I don't say anything, that's also I feel very bad because they're not understanding the business and what they're doing. But basically, when she said, like, so why would you? I would want to ask, why would you go to a photographer to pose nude if you don't have any nudes, and what do you expect to happen? What kind of good things can come out of that when you just... So would you really want somebody to accept you without seeing you? Totally in the dark, you have normal photos and you say you're a nude model and photographer says, okay, just come up. For me, that's suspicious. That's how I felt with her. Second thing, then because then I think it was the same or other person, I asked, so what do you, oh yeah, I love it. Talking about communication, we had an excellent communication with you. With one model, I contacted because she says nude model. I saw that you're doing nude modeling, and can you tell me a bit about it because you don't have any photos. She says, €100. This is the answer. This is like I just wrote like all the greetings, such a nice photos. You have very beautiful photos dressed, but you say nude photo. I'm doing this. I'm teaching nude art. This is this. My portfolio is this. So I would like to consider working with you. Can you just give me any information about you and how do you do this? How do you want to do? €100. Okay, and I said, that's it? That's all? Actually, I have the conversation somewhere here. I should just read. And she says, yeah. And I said, okay. I said, what are the rules? Like, do you have any rules and something to come up with it? Or just, you want to say €100, that's it, no conversation? Nothing like maybe you want to ask me something, you know? And she says, no, she says, just don't touch me. And what was it? Second thing, she said something else, but I think I fade off right there. She said, don't touch me. Okay, €100, no touchy. Perfect, excellent. Now I'm very excited to shoot with you. Now you made me feel like I'm a creep, because that's what you're gonna get, by the way. If you just say, somebody greets you, somebody tells you what they want to do, and you just say €100, there will be some guy, okay, I'll give you €200. Tomorrow you come in here. So and she would be okay with it. She would show up. So that is fucking dangerous to go. You didn't ask me any question. Your attitude is completely offensive, as if you are going to a potential rapist. Then don't go. No matter, it's €1,000. Just don't show up. And you have no information, nothing. So that happens. That is also very weird. And then when I said, what did I say that she blocked me? I said, so do you have any other information that you want to give me? Do you do other things, or you just show up naked? Because according to our conversation, €100, no touchy, and you're naked. That's what I get. Like, are there any other things among all the things we talk in this podcast? Because it seems to me you just want to get paid for being naked. And she said, oh, very offensive, she blocked me. I don't know. It's very strange. Some people, these type of people will get in trouble. They're gonna come up to bad photographers because of this attitude. Because nothing good can come out of this when you don't communicate, when you don't ask questions as a model to a photographer, and you just do it for the money. She apparently wants to only do it for money. She doesn't have any nude photos. She says nude modeling. She just said maybe somebody will want to pay me. So it goes back to the beginning of the podcast that you said that the attitude and the why you do it is very important to be successful or to get good results. Of course, no €100, no Tacky, no photos as well. It's very touchy. It's like me saying to you, to a model, let's say that model wants to work with me, and I say, sorry, but I don't sleep with my models. I'm sorry, I cannot sleep with you. That is what a weird assumption to make to somebody. Like it's yeah, that's odd. But there are people out there too. They're more horrible photographers, but there are some models that don't know what they're doing. And yeah.
For one, unprofessional, and for two, is just irresponsible. And I mean, I see why people might think that asking for nudes is offensive, but nudes are not nudes. Since some guy might be asking like, "Oh, show me yourself. Oh, you're going to shower. Oh, I want to."
Oh yeah, I think that's what she thought. I'm asking, like, send me a nude, like doing all this, like it just I it's yeah. It's so of course I know how to ask things. I didn't ask like send me a fucking nude or like send me a nude now, but also it just nude is not nude. But for her apparently nude was it's gonna be lots of sexual thing. So don't touch, and I'm not gonna send you nude. I'm just gonna show up for 1 hour. Oh, by the way, it was €100 1 hour. It also shows you have no idea how photo
1
shoots
hour,
go.
yeah, 60 minutes. If it's
But-
61
but-
minutes, I'll charge you more.
But that's how sex workers talk. That also shows you haven't done modeling, and you're just damaging your name. You cannot say one. You have to ask questions. What kind of thing is that? Then maybe it's hour based, maybe it's not. But mostly, as you have experienced that, makeup takes 1.5 hours, or things can go wrong. So what are we talking about 1 hour? Can you imagine our photo shoots in 1 hour? It's impossible. It's impossible. Yet 1 hour, €100, not Tacky. I love it. Yeah, the nudes that, but you know, by nudes, if somebody asks you a nude, you have a portfolio. Yeah, and also it shows that you are comfortable. If somebody asks you nude, you would send, like, okay, I'll send you a recent one, but because that's what you get paid for and that's what you do.
Yeah, and by the way, I would say it's completely okay, even if you don't have a portfolio since you're starting out or something, but it needs to be communicated. And also, the photographer does not want to jack off or something, he just wants to see your body. So it's, I would say, completely okay to just stand in front of a mirror or opposite of the window and just show how you look, because then photographer won't know what they will be working with.
Yeah, and also there's lots of things in this. You might have a piercing, you might have a tattoo. My wife has a tattoo on her back. Without sending nudes, nobody would see. But anyway, that shows who's amateur and who's not. Um, I like it. Good. That's why I like you. You're a professional. Do do you want to give out your any social Instagram name? How can they find you? Do you want good photographers to find you, not truck driver looking bald and fat and not sweaty man living in a basement? But photographers, how can they find you? Now you're in Norway. Maybe in Norway they would watch this podcast.
Yeah, well, I would definitely like to do some more shootings maybe in the spring when I know I will be in Slovakia. And yeah, I would say that I'm the most active on Instagram, and it's well, my name. You can actually include it. Yeah.
Say it. I'm gonna put it somewhere, text somewhere there in
Yeah.
the video when
Vika, then this special sign, I don't know, underline. I don't know. Yeah, underscore. And then Tsirikova.
Yeah, I think it's also your Netflix password, all these underscores and question marks and stuff. Yeah.
So
They-
yeah, Instagram.
yeah, guys, you can contact her. There you go. And I also, when I edit this video and upload it, I'll put our photos, samples, and also you can see on my website the links, and you can see how you work. there you go. I hope this helps to models and photographers, and I hope people enjoyed our conversation. That's it. That's it. Vika, thank you very much. Are you happy if when I call you Vika? Is Vika is okay? Okay, good. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your boyfriend to allow this to happen. Very positive energy. Yeah. Okay, that's it. And let's make a promise. Before New Year or maybe after New Year, you have to come to Portugal so we can do photo shoot too. Again. Okay, fingers crossed. Okay, thank you very much.
It was very nice getting in touch with you again, even though we're in contact, but like through this podcast and video call. And I hope that people will like it, that they maybe learn something new, that they might feel inspired. And so, see you next time.
Thank you. Awesome. Take care. Greetings to Norway. Have a good one. Thank you very much. Now it's gonna take forever for me to turn this off. There's so much buttons, so you can leave. I'll try to. Take care. Bye bye.